My name is CJ Broadbent, and for my disease presentation, I will be presenting on rubella. So some quick facts about rubella. It was discovered in 1814 by George Matton, and then it was given the name of rubella by Henry Veal in 1866. It's part of the family Tocoviridae and genus Rubivirus. It's also a single-stranded RNA virus. It's also known that humans are the only known host that can carry rubella. And rubella is also known as three-day measles or the German measles. So like I said, three-day measles is a nickname for rubella, and it can sometimes get confused with ordinary measles. So the difference between the two is that they are two completely different viral infections. German measles, which we know as rubella, is a mild three-day illness, while rubeola, which is what normal measles is known by, is a more serious infection, and it can last for many days. There's also sometimes there can be complications later on afterwards, or after having the infection. And obviously vaccination is the only way to be immunized by both viral infections. And the common thing that confuses the two is the rash, but I'll discuss the rash later for rubella. Rubella is, the way it's transmission is it's spread through the contact by an infected person, so it's a person-to-person thing, and it's normally through coughing or sneezing. It's transported or transmitted by the respiratory route, and so it initially replicates in the nasopharyngeal mucosa, as well as the local lymph nodes, and we'll see the effects of that later when I explain the symptoms in the next slide. Pregnant women can also infect their unborn child through the bloodstream, and that will become an issue in later slides when we talk about a congenital rubella syndrome. So we'll mention that later. Also, a person with rubella is contagious from 10 days before the onset of the rash until about 1 to 2 weeks after the rash disappears. So the disease progresses in a normal state, I guess you could say. 5 to 7 days after exposure to the virus, you experience viremia, which is also known as how the virus progresses from the body to infecting all the organs of the body. So that takes about a week. The incubation period is about 12 to 23 days. The average is about 18 days for the incubation, and symptoms usually appear 2 to 3 weeks after exposure. The most infectious period is usually 1 to 5 days after the appearance of the rash. Hallmarks of the disease is, like I said before, the rash, and this rash is different because it starts on the face and it spreads to the rest of the body. And this rash lasts about 1 to 3 days, which is similar, or which is why it's known as three-day measles. Other hallmarks are that it has a low fever, which is less than 101 degrees Fahrenheit, and it lasts about 2 to 3 days. And there's also swollen glands and lymph nodes, which can lead to bull necking, as we have heard before in Dr. Cody's class. Other symptoms are malaise, which is just general discomfort, nausea, mild conjunctivitis, or it's also known as pink eye. And then there's also achy joints, but that's more common in women with achy joints and arthritis. So as I said before, rubella in pregnancy, women who are pregnant are 90% likely to transfer the virus to their fetus. And so it's highly recommended that women that are pregnant should not get vaccinated for this disease. But if they do have the disease and they pass it on to the fetus, they have a high chance of miscarriage, stillbirth, or severe birth defects, which is specifically the one that is most known is congenital rubella syndrome, which I'll explain on the next slide. And the number of estimated CRS cases each year is more than 100,000. So congenital rubella syndrome, or CSR, it is infected about 85% of infants within the first trimester, And so that makes it more likely for them to have birth defects or neurological abnormalities. And children with CRS can suffer hearing impairments, eye and heart defects, and other lifelong disabilities, such as autism, diabetes mellitus, and thyroid dysfunction. So basically, congenital rubella syndrome is just already being born with rubella, and it can may have drastic effects on the children because it's more effective on the children than it is compared to adults. But children are much more, or they have an easier ability to heal from it than adults do. One way to prevent all of this is vaccination. So the first rubella vaccine was a live attenuated vaccine, and it was licensed in 1969. The measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine was licensed in 1971. In the U.S., they recommend for children to get their first MMR vaccine anywhere from 12 to 15 months old, and then their second booster from 4 to 6 years. And this recommendation started around 1996. The first outbreak in the United States was the epidemic in 1964 to 1965. There were 12.5 million cases of rubella reported. And in the U.S., there was over 2,000 cases of encephalitis, which is swelling of the brain, over 11,000 cases of fetal wastage, 20,000 cases of CRS, and then multiple cases of deafness, deafblind children, and children with mental retardation, all because of contracting congenital rubella syndrome. As of 2004 in the U.S., rubella was declared eliminated, and transmission of the rubella virus in the World Health Organization's region of the Americas was halted in 2009. And so it was said that it has been eliminated, but it continues to be imported by foreign-born adults or people that have not been vaccinated. And so that's why it's still important to receive the MMR vaccine. Also, globally, about 100,000 rubella cases were reported in 2012 for states that are part of WHO, but it's actually assumed that the cases were much higher. There's a big outbreak outside the Americas because not all the countries are highly recommended for, or do not have the recommendation for the MMR vaccine. And so in 1996, there was a high amount of babies born with CRS, where there was 22,000 in Africa, 46,000 in Southeast Asia, and 13,000 in the Western Pacific. In 2012, when they sampled this again, the countries with the largest number of cases were Timor-Leste, Macedonia, Thailand, and Tajikistan, and Syria. And what they see is that outside the Americas, the reason why they're not getting the vaccine are due to religious reasons or the movements for the anti-vaccine movement, or if they just they can't afford to receive the vaccine because of health care. WHO also did a survey or data collection for the countries that were using the rubella vaccine in their national immunization system. So in 1996, only 65 countries were using it, but then back in 2012, over 134 countries were using it. So that's about 44% of the birth cohort. And lastly, there's some more facts about rubella. There's no treatment for the disease, but if infected, you are recommended to be isolated from others, especially from pregnant women. Since the disease is so mild, it's not that bad, so really you can take like acetaminophen to reduce your fever, and you just kind of need to relax and lay down. Rubella is also, once you've had it, you're usually permanently immune from it, and if you receive the vaccine, you are 95% protected from the virus. So thank you. Thank you for listening to my report. That's all.